Nicholas I was Russia's Tsar, but then he died. So his son, Alexander II, became Russia's next Tsar. Under Alexander's rule, the Crimean War occurred. The duel of a lifetime, the Crimean War. It was Russia versus Great Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire.
And Russia loses.
After embarrassingly losing the Crimean War, Alexander decided to make some reforms in Russia. By 1855, the rest of Europe had abolished serfdom, except for Russia. This caused Russia to be split off from Western Europe.
The splitting off influenced Alexander and caused him to make his first reform, the abolition of serfdom.
I think I'm going to abolish serfdom soon.
At first, Alexander only talked about abolishing serfdom, but in 1861 he finally abolished it.
I hate being a serf! This sucks!
I abolish this!
Pick up my serfs.
It's okay, they still have to pay you.
Oh, okay.
Serfs were no longer serfs, but now peasants, and as peasants they had to pay their landlords for the land. Because they had to pay, they often went into lots of debt.
I used to be your serf and now I have to pay for my land! I worked that land! Now I'm in debt to you and I have no money.
It's not my problem.
You know what? I think I'm going to cancel all the peasants' debts.
I ain't debt anymore!
In 1906, the government finally canceled the debts of the peasants.
I introduced a new statute on the judicial and legal practices in Russia. I also no longer held the judges as independent. As for myself, I can increase or decrease sentences.
Alexander II also made military reforms. He, as the Tsar of Russia, possessed the largest army in Europe. Life in his army was usually harsh and brutal, so he decided to make it less harsh and brutal by shortening the service to 15 years. Nationalists in Poland wanted to make Poland its own country, but it was a part of Russian territory. So Alexander II decided to fix the problem by Russifying Poland.
Poland! No. You are not Poland. You are a part of Russia. I Russify you. You are no longer Poland. You are a part of my country.
Russification caused Poles to hate Alexander II. I'm Polish and I hate Alexander II. Alexander Herzen was a large critic of Alex II. From London, he published his newspaper The Bell and often would criticize Alexander II. Students and intellectuals within Russia would listen to Alexander Herzen's criticisms and would follow them. After hearing his criticisms, they would join together and create radical societies. One of the first and most major radical societies that was created was called Land and Freedom. Land and Freedom was prosperous at first, but eventually split in two. The first half was more focused on educating peasants, while the other, called the People's Will, was more focused on overthrowing the autocracy with terrorism.
I'm from the people's will and I'm here to assassinate you!
Countless assassination attempts were made on Alexander II's life. But Alexander II survived every single one of them. He even survived an attempt on his life with a bomb underneath his dining room table. Finally, on March 1st, 1881, he was assassinated with a bomb. 4 men and 2 women from the People's Will were sentenced to death for his assassination. After Alexander II's death, Alexander III came into power. Under Alexander III, improved factory conditions, the censorship of the press, the strengthening of secret police, and the beginning of the industrialization of Russia happened. He also undid all of Alexander II's reforms. After Alexander III, Nicholas II became the Tsar of Russia in 1894. By the end of the 19th century, Russia was big and bad in steel production and large industrial force, but it knew that its autocracy couldn't live on in the 20th century.